name is Sasha Bonasin, and I'm a psychic medium. And today I'm going to be talking about my first astral projection experience. Now, I have been doing psychic readings for as long as I can remember. I was 5 years old and I was playing with tarot cards. I was completely fascinated with tarot cards. Then, by the age of 12, I started doing psychic readings, and I ended up doing psychic readings on daily basis. I was always aware of the fact that there is a world, there is a life after death. That I always knew that when people die, that's not it. Basically, it's just like crossing from one room to another. There is a spirit world indeed. Basically, when I was 14 years old, I had my first astral projection experience. I remember it was like, basically, it was like yesterday. I clearly remember everything. I remember going to bed that night and everything was just normal. I fell asleep, and then suddenly at around 2 o'clock in the morning, I just kind of woke up and I realized that there was a really strong buzzing sound, like a buzzing noise coming from within. And the buzzing noise was becoming louder and louder. I mean, I've never heard anything like it before. But to make the matter even more worse or more scary to me at that point, because I couldn't explain what was actually happening to me, to make the matter even like more scary, it's like I couldn't really move. My body, my actual body, just became paralyzed, and I was just really scared what was actually happening to me. At that point, I realized that my spirit started leaving my body, and it was literally like this. So let's say this is my body and this is my spirit, and it just started moving slowly further and further and further apart. And it started moving and moving. As I remember, I was like kind of, my body was paralyzed, but at this point, as my spirit separated from my body, let's say my spirit was this much away from my body, I was at this point I was able obviously to move, because I was able to move my spirit, and I was moving my spirit with literally with my mind. And as I looked down, I realized, oh my God, my body is still on the bed, but I'm up here. And bear in mind, I was only 14. I really thought I was dying. And at this point, the only thing that was going through my mind was like, why am I dying? Why? What happened? Why am I dying? I'm only 14. Like, I was fine. Like, what's really happening? I don't understand. And I was keep on looking down, and I was looking at my body. And at this moment, I realized something very unusual. Again, something what I haven't, I've never seen before. I've never heard about these things before. I've never read about astral projection. I knew nothing about it. I mean, like I said, I knew about psychic readings and about things like that, but I just didn't know anything about astral projection. And at that point, I realized this beautiful, beautiful long cord going connected to my spirit body, literally where my belly button is, and this long beautiful silver color cord was completely connected to my actual body. And I remember I was just like, while I was like elevating, while my spirit was above my body, while I was still in the air, I was just thinking like, wow, what is this? I just don't understand. And I was completely mesmerized how beautiful this cord was. Later on, when I started reading about it, it was that I found out that this umbilical cord, it just looked like umbilical cord, but this long silver cord was actually the only thing that at this point is connected to the spirit body, and to the actual body is this cord. And if you go too far, the actual cord can actually break, and then you might not ever come back to your actual, to your actual body. So you have to be very careful with the practice and meditation, and with practice and meditation, basically you are able to go further and further, and you are able to extend the actual distance in between your spirit, with your spirit and the actual body. And that way you are able to, to travel more and to do more and to go further and further and to find out more, basically. I remember while my spirit was still like this above my body, I still remember, like, I looked at the room and everything was like kind of, everything was the same, but everything was slightly different, if that makes any sense. So the room was the same, but it was like slightly longer. The actual color of everything was slightly different. I looked at the door at that point really quickly, and the door were like really long, and the handle was like slightly different. So everything was like a little bit different at that point. And this is what I remember. And at that point, as I still was thinking like, oh my God, this is it. This is a different world. This is a different dimension. It felt different. That the whole color of everything around me was not like how it normally is. It's just, everything was slightly different. Everything felt different. And at that point, as I still thought like, that's it, I'm dying, I looked it down again and I just said to myself, oh no, I just want to go back. I want to go back right now. I don't want to die just yet. I want to go back right now. And at that point, my spirit, something changed. And at that point, my spirit just started going back down, slowly down, slowly down. And I was aware of it. I knew it, that I started going back down, and I knew exactly I'm going to get back to my body and everything is going to be fine. And at that point also, I realized that already really quickly, I realized that when something like this happens, when there is astral projection, when your spirit does leave your body, you just basically move your spirit and you communicate to your spirit, to yourself basically, with your mind. Because I was able to bring my spirit back down to my body. And then I realized this is it. And I just found, I was completely fascinated. I was still petrified, but I knew I wanted to find out more about it. As being so young then at that point, straight away the next day, I was completely mesmerized by the whole thing that happened to me. So I went to buy as many books as I can on astral projection, because I just kind of knew at that stage that this was astral projection. And I went to buy loads of books and I started reading books, and I just learned more and more and more about it until I started practicing it through meditation, relaxation, to all these different techniques. I started to practicing astral projection, and every time I had astral projection experience, I was basically able to go further and further and further away from my body. And I was able to go in general further and further away until I learned how to walk, until I learned how to move in the room, how to open the door. I remember opening the door for the first time. Again, you try with your spirit, but you just can't. And then I just remember, oh no, you have to use your mind. And then you try again to open the door. And remember, this is all in astral projection world. And then again, as I said, I try to open the door, and then I just remember, oh yeah, of course, with your mind. And then I just managed to open the door and go into the different room. I even remember once jumping out of the window, and that was brilliant because I was able to jump out of the window, but that was absolutely fantastic. And what do you get out of it? You get actually so much out of it. It's not that you only find out that there is a world, there is another world. This is what you see, it's not it. There is another world. Every time I did astral projection experience, I would get so much out of it. What would I get out of it? I would be able to rejuvenate myself. I would be able to rejuvenate my spirit body. I would be able to rejuvenate my mind. If I didn't feel right, I would just go into astral projection, and then when I would come back to my body, I would just feel completely re-energized. Everything was so much better. I would feel absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I would get loads out of it, a lot. This is only my first video on my astral projections, and I will be talking about it more. And I will be talking about more experience I had with astral projections and different stages and which spirits I've seen on the way. There were spirits communicating to me and I was communicating back. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful and I actually love it. And as I said, this is my first video and I'm going to be talking about more. Thank you ever so much for watching and you will hear from me soon. Thank you.